Here.
Peggy.
Here.
Luther.
Here.
Ralph.
Here.
While we're on the roll call, I think you probably all already know this, but we'll make it official. Erin Kovach has tendered her resignation. She's resigning her seat on council. I think we probably need a motion to accept the resignation. I did try to talk around it, and there was no talk around it. I feel bad about that.
I'll make a motion, we accept Erin's resignation.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
If anybody's interested, there's a seat open,
I
guys.
have a candidate who showed up tonight. In fact, I thought there were two, but I just see that one's here.
I see a whole bunch out
And there are a lot of people here we can pick from. You all have
I mean, it's open.
one. But Rodney Dunn has expressed an interest.
Wonderful.
You have 30 days to fill that seat.
I know.
So I said, well, I know you know, but I'm not sure everybody else
I'm
knows.
sorry.
So we will need somebody by the next council meeting.
Probably sounds good to me.
Well,
But we gotta give everybody a
I
chance.
thought so too, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
you all were aware that Aaron was leaving and what the parameters were for picking
I
somebody
heard
else.
that, but I wasn't real sure.
All right, is there a motion? We had to forego approving minutes in June because there weren't enough people present who had been at those meetings in July, I'm sorry, for the June meetings. So we need a motion to approve the minutes of June 3rd. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Mary Jane.
Abstain.
No, you were here for this.
Oh, I was here
That's-
on
Yes,
Is that the 14th? I was here.
you were here both.
I was.
June 3rd and June 14th. You
I
were not,
I missed one.
no, you missed July 1st,
Okay,
okay?
okay. Yes.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on July 14th?
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
And we are in the same predicament that we were in before, but about approving the minutes for, since we're down one member, but Mary Jane wasn't here, she'll have to stay. It won't. So we will hold the July minutes until we have a complete group, hopefully at our September meeting, because we don't have enough to pass the approval.
Okay.
You just refill that seat.
No, they won't, you'll have to have Tim. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the warrants and payroll timesheets.
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the interest transfers to the respective funds?
Motion made.
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy. Ralph.
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to transfer the monthly amount from the general fund to the police operating fund.
Motion made. Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
And the chair will entertain a motion to approve the transfer of the monthly grant matching funds to the street fund from the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Sue's not here yet. Carly, you want to come up? You got your-
I do.
Please do. You just come as close to here as you can so that we can pick up.
All right, I am Carly. I am the associate pastor at Ware's Chapel in West Manchester, and we are doing a church plant here in New Paris that is going to be a coffee shop called The Porch. We are in the final stages of securing our building and getting everything up to go, and we would like to open in November. So what I'm here to ask you is if I can use the park at the old school on trick or treat night to do a trunk or treat as kind of an event to get our name out there, and maybe have an enclosed fire so we can do some s'mores and stuff like that and have some music.
Sounds good. It will more than likely run after dark.
Oh, sure.
And that's why she
It'll be
needed.
dark by 5 o'clock anyway, probably. Yeah.
So that's why she needs permission. She'll want the lights, I'm sure.
Well, I approve that. I make a motion, we approve her event. Need a second, guys?
Other questions? I'm sorry, we just kind of,
Is your liability thing that's just as liable?
there would be, yes.
And we have insurance coverage also off-site from
Okay.
the church. We did change pastors. I was planning on bringing that with me, but we can't find it. So we're working on hunting it down with the change of pastors.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Clifford?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you.
You don't leave that to your own.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Committee reports, safety.
On the month of July, police department handled 116 calls for service, made 18 reports, 3 arrests, 10 citations, 22 warrants were issued.
Hold on just a minute, we'll get that door shut again. I'm noisy out here.
Susan?
Go ahead and finish. That's it? Good job. We appreciate your work here, you and your force. And Susan, we're ready for you whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you. I just have a few things this evening, nothing too major. I think everybody can probably see that the East Cherry Street project is finished other than the punch list, which I will provide to you. We've shared that with Pergrade, and they are working on those items that are left. I do not have a pay request from them this evening, so we won't get anything to approve there. As you probably all know, there was a base failure up in the area near Washington Street when they went to do the paving. It was an area that the base was suspect, and we did some repairs to it. When the paving machine was there, there was a dump truck that had pavement in it, and the base failed when the truck was on the base. We finished the paving and then came back on Monday, and as you probably all saw, we had to dig it back out, and there was a water vein down underneath about 2 feet deep, and that water vein basically created the base failure. So we ended up having to put some geotextile material in there called Tensar, and it basically bridges the base material down in there to basically alleviate that water from creating problems, because we couldn't just do stone. There wasn't enough stability down there. So I don't have any numbers from Pergrade on all of that, and there will be some negotiating from our part in regards to that. So hopefully next month I'll have something and we can figure out where we're at with that and discuss that. So I don't know if anybody has any concerns about anything down there, or problems, or have any complaints that I'd like to hear about.
clarify again what exactly the water part of it?
Basically, there's a water vein in that area,
Like
and,
a spring?
no, well, not necessarily. There's water veins, it's kind of like it's like kind of similar to like your well. There's like a vein of water, and your well hits it, and that's where you draw your water out of. It was similar to that. It wasn't nearly anything like what you would have for a well, but there was a water, I don't know what you want to call it, like a little water stream down through there, and that created an unstable base material. And so when we repaired it and we proof-rolled it proof-rolled okay, but as those trucks went over and over and over it during the paving, I think that just, made it
Knocked it
unsettled
loose.
and created a problem there. So better now than later, because it would have failed eventually. So it's better that it did it now and that we could fix it.
Somebody was right on site.
Yes, I think the really important thing is that you don't have your dump trucks going down there, that come from over here on 121. That's a no-through truck. And your police department needs to enforce no-through trucks down through there. It's not built for trucks, for one. Two, it's just going to tear that street up if you continue to let the dump trucks go down through there that come out of.
We do have an ordinance against that.
So I think if,
I think we've done a lot towards stopping it too. Going up through Cherry Street and taking that. I think we have, as far as I know.
None of our side streets are,
No, they have to stay on the skate routes.
Right.
That's what the village ordinance says.
and you might just have your police department kind of keep an eye on that, and I think, one or two tickets will solve the whole problem, because they'll all tell each other. It hasn't yet? Well, then you need to ticket them more. Because that's the only way, you're going to get along, is to ticket them, and then pretty soon they'll be telling each other, look out for that new pair of So,
The mean one. He's a mean one.
you know what I mean? Okay. Next, I'll go on the High Street Bridge. You submitted that to the Ohio Public Works Commission on your behalf to be in the pipeline. So there's a copy of that for your record. The Spring Street Bridge, the design's ongoing with that. Our plans are due to ODOT in September. So when I come next meeting at your next month, we should have some plans for you to look at in regards to that. Remember, it's a superstructure replacement, which means all the beams in the deck come off. The lower part stays. The hazard mitigation grant was submitted on July the 10th for the tornado siren, and then it was fixed line. There is another disaster declaration 4447 that had to do with the tornadoes that will be due on August the 30th of this year. And I'd like your permission to resubmit that application. I have a phone call scheduled tomorrow with a gentleman from the Ohio EMA to talk with him about what can we do to change it or do something different. And is it just because the last one was a flooding, disaster, and this is a tornado disaster, and maybe that has something to do with it just because of the type of disaster it is. But I would like your permission to basically resubmit it again through this next round, and then I'll make whatever changes he suggests.
Are there any questions for Susan about that?
Make a motion.
Thank you.
We resubmit it, Susan. Do what you can do.
Okay, I sure will. And then the last thing I have has to do with the park
Just a
demolition.
second, we're going to vote.
Sorry.
I second.
Sorry.
Sorry. I heard you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Mary Jane?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I've been working with two companies in regards to the demolition or the remediation of the school building. Ziegler Environmental out of Springboro and Aztec Environmental of Cincinnati. I've also contacted Environmental Demolition Group. They all do remediation. I don't have any quotes from them yet. They're still working on that, but we've been in contact with RAPTA which is the Regional Air Pollution Advisory Council, and they control the air quality in relationship to airborne asbestos. And so I've been in contact with them. I talked with them again today, and they have given us the approval that we will not have to remove the floor tile or the mastic in the floor tiles, and we can bury them on site. So that'll be less remediation that we have to do. We still have to do the plaster, we still have to do the insulation jackets, but they are going to forego the floor and the mastic in the floor and allow us to just bury it there. So with that new information, it kind of put a different spin on what kind of number I'm going to get from them. I hope to have a number within the next week. So I will forward that on to you to look at and share. And then what I would like to ask is that you allow the submittal of the grant application for the capital bill money that we received, the $200,000, so that we can get that started, because it will take probably at least 2 months by the time we get it submitted. They get it approved, they send it here, you sign it, it goes back, it has to go through the state controlling board, and they only meet twice a month. And then they set the money aside, and then they actually send you the grant agreement back that you can actually, enter into something with someone. So what I'd like to do is have approval to go ahead and submit that after we get these numbers to kind of see where we're at. Basically we know we're going to do the remediation and the demolition with the money. So we will work towards that and get that submitted so we can kind of keep that process moving. So.
There's a second to that.
I'll second it.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
And that's all I have to see. So thank you.
You got a question, Susan?
Sure.
There's several places the grass isn't growing back through.
Okay.
Where they have
Mhm.
done the Cherry Street project.
Okay.
Are they coming back and doing any of it again? They have to go from house to house to see what's taken, what hasn't taken.
Yes, they'll
You
have
have to
to come.
submit that into them individually, that each resident does, or they're going to?
No, we'll just, if there's some problems going on down there, I'll take a look at it, and then we'll just have them come back, and we'll have them reseed the places that the grass didn't grow. We have not given them substantial completion just yet, and that actually starts your 1-year warranty. So I don't get in any big hurry until they ask me for it, because then it just kind of, makes your warranty
We're
last
getting
longer.
toward the end of the grass growth season.
Right, you're correct.
Just was curious.
Typically the grass growing season is kind of like May through June, and then there's another little period actually in September, October. So if we see that, we're not going to have much, because obviously July and August aren't really good months.
All right.
They may want to wait and come back and do it in September. But I will make sure that we relook at it again in the fall, so that they can plant something so it has a chance to kind of, seed itself for next spring. So yes, but thank you for bringing that up.
Anything else you need to ask Susan about?
Thank you very much. All right.
And we're ready for the building committee.
That's me and Luther.
Yes, this corner out here where the siding's broken,
Again?
that's what I was going to ask. Is that again, or was it never fixed?
I thought it was fixed.
Well, it's again. I
Oh,
we need to
somebody-
figure out what's happening to it, why somebody keeps banging into it like that.
Could be, I'll take a look at
If
it, but
you
it was,
would.
Jimmy did fix it.
Oh, well, I thought so, but then
Yeah, yeah.
pulled up there and
I'll take a look at
somebody
it.
banged into it again, it looks like.
Okay.
So, is there anything else on the buildings? Okay.
Just the cleaning part of it, I know we probably maybe might have to change or get someone that's more reliable.
Do we want to look for somebody else? Have we got an idea of someone else?
I think maybe we could ask around, or there might be some
Let's everybody just kind of see who does it. I'll try to get a hold.
Yeah.
I thought Chris Brower had somebody in mind, but was it Chris?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to him, we'll see him this
There
week
was,
later.
Becky McGriff was mentioned to me by someone, and I didn't know, I just wanted to bring it up to council and see what you thought about it. Because we're not, our building isn't being cleaned like it should be, and I understand that. But we need someone to clean it
Well,
down.
we'll see if Chris has a name for us, and see if Becky's interested, and see what they would charge us to do it.
Yeah.
And anybody else that comes up with a name, do the same thing. Find out if they're interested and what the charges would be, and we'll,
What do we pay the people now?
I don't know what we're paying them.
Like $35 a week, I think. My last bill was $89 per month.
Okay. So we have it twice a month then.
And
Not
if-
there.
Okay.
That was still organization and need, wasn't it?
No, no.
It's down in the, yeah. And I just don't think they have shown us what needs to be done, you know. And I'm not sure of that, but it's kind of what it sounds like. So we'll get together, compare notes on anybody we come up with and see if we can't get somebody else.
Okay.
All right. Streets?
I think Susan covered most of the streets as far as where we're at right now.
We did,
Waiting for the state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And nothing much crazy on that punch list, a lot of little things it looked like to me.
Right, well, I don't know where the bunch list went.
It's going around,
Is it going around?
I think.
Here it is.
Have you got it?
We get copies of that?
Sure. Don't leave without getting one, remind me. Okay?
The signs have been ordered too for the Amish.
I don't think Denny's done it yet.
He's got them.
Oh, has he got
No, they've been ordered.
Oh, okay.
No, that's all, yeah, they have been ordered, and, I talked to Jimmy again today about it. Last night, I was sitting on my front porch, and about 5 wagons come through about 10 o'clock.
We passed them to.
Did you pass them to them?
Yes.
And there was probably 30 to 40 of them total. And today, I spoke to one of them out on Wolverton Road, and there's going to be a lot more moving in. They hope to have somewhere between 60 and 70 families in Preble County by first of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Get your shovel out.
Well, I assumed there were several.
We used to,
Yeah,
we have
that's what
an
they-
old ordinance years and years ago about horses.
Horses, we never does that one off.
But you know, they're pretty good about it. They bag their horses, you know, and
Oh, sure.
and they were lit up. They were lit up like,
They were they? I didn't know what it was when I first saw it.
gee, oh, I mean, they have more lights on than I got my house.
It was lit up real well, so that's good. Okay. Speaking of lit up, what about lights? We got anything on the lights, Peg?
A couple of ones, they come and go. They don't, you know.
A lot of them,
Overheat or something.
they're set that way, I think.
And sometimes when I go by, I see them, and sometimes they're not on.
We need to make notes of those and just send them down there and tell them, look, these are blinking, they're part-time.
Right,
Because
okay.
I bet they don't, how our bill doesn't come and go.
That's right.
That's what I'm
That's right.
thinking.
That's right.
I want to back up a second because I have a question for our chief. Did you ever find out or do you know for anything about as far as when the Amish are in the road, if it's a double line or whatever, are you allowed to pass a slow-moving vehicle?
I didn't get to look into that.
Okay, I was just curious.
I will look into that. He said tomorrow.
Finance. I've spoken to our attorney about delinquent income taxes. He thinks we should send a demand letter to the people who owe us money, giving them so much time to pay that or we will go to court. Now, he hasn't seen the amounts yet, and he may, he agrees with what we thought. If we let it go, it'll get worse. So he is going to look into the demand letter. We can add fees, we can add attorney costs, we can add penalties if they are not paid at the end of the time of the demand, which would recoup some of our money. And all he's waiting for is our approval. He will go ahead and draft that demand letter and set penalties and fees. Do we have ideas? I mean, I don't know what everybody else will charge. What kind of penalty? If it's an accruing penalty, after 30 days or whatever the letter gives you, you're charged this much, and if it goes another 30, then it doubles. Or I am assuming
He doesn't have any idea.
he did not tell me. So I'm assuming we would want it to be ascending like that.
So where would they pay, here or?
They would have to pay
Go through
here
that?
because there's no, they're not, they've washed their hands of
Because
it.
I've never got a hold of anybody in Cleveland or Hamilton or anywhere about
Well, the information we had from Cleveland, from the collection service up
that.
there,
Yeah.
said that they had made their total number of attempts, and they were not attempting anymore. Well, it probably would cost us a fortune if they did. It's up to us now to either pursue these things or to let them drop. He felt we should pursue. I think we all kind of agree that we should look at doing that. We can add penalties, we can add a fee to it, a late fee, and then penalize or put them together, however you want to do it.
Do those numbers have to be approved before we finally move forward?
I would assume that he may look at what others are doing and send us that. We can either approve what he sends us or change it. It'll just take us a little bit longer if we change it.
I
But-
make a motion to pursue it immediately to get the ball rolling.
Is there,
Go with the numbers.
okay, is there a
What
second?
are the numbers? How much is it? What are you looking at?
We're looking at.
We're looking at delinquent taxes,
Delinquent
delinquent
taxes.
income
For
taxes.
Is there a number that we know that are?
Is there a balance number?
There is right out there in the, we all have seen it, we've all had a copy of it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not that much, but,
Like 30,000, 40,000?
no, it's not. It's not that much. But it's our feeling that everyone pays their taxes. And you need to pay it if you owe it.
The figure that's there now, if you let it go, it'll double or triple as time goes. Then we're looking at 30,000 or whatever. But right now, if you try to stop it or get it taken care of early, we don't look at $20,000, $30,000, a debt coming to us.
So we'll look at it to
But
see
if
what
it's
it's
going
going to cost
to
us.
cost more to pursue it than it is to get back out of it, then that'd be another question.
And what's is he going to send us a whole procedure on how to do it? And
Yes,
So we send it out, and then they don't pay us, and then where do we go?
Then we go to
We'll
court
have to
and
have his
change.
fees and everything involved in it.
Then things will start accruing to them, fees,
Okay.
late payment fees,
And then we'll
penalties.
have to pay the court.
We probably will, but
Pay
they'll
now.
have to pay.
Pay now, pay
Yeah.
later.
We can probably add attorney fees and court costs to what they have to pay, okay? And you'll wait that.
Yeah.
But I will tell him to get going on the demand letters.
We need a second on that.
Well, we need an ordinance.
He made a motion.
Oh, I'm
There's a
sorry.
motion to start that, and we may want to do
I think we
something.
need an ordinance or a resolution.
It's possible, but we'll need to get the letter first and see what to put in
Yeah,
the ordinance.
okay.
So I think that we could go ahead and get the letter and the premise and everything set up that we want to follow, and then write the ordinance from that.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
second,
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Luther?
yes,
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
yes.
Is there anything else in finance? Anybody else have anything? Questions? Sanitation?
Go ahead,
Go
Peggy.
ahead, Mary Jane. You're the boss, get going.
Peggy and I have been working on some properties here in the village, and there's several vehicles that need to be, they're ready to go. I'm just going to ask Jeremy, I'll put them in your mailbox if you could get them delivered for us. And we're still working. This is just for vehicles. And there's a part in that ordinance that I'd like for you to read over too. If you take, what we did, we took the pictures and a new letter, and the new ordinance, or no, under cars, it was under the old ordinance because we haven't changed it yet. So part of it is under old ordinance, and it's a lot of paperwork. And some of it's under the new ordinance, some of it's under the old ordinance because we don't have all of it on the same page yet.
Are we close to getting a new, simpler ordinance?
Jimmy has gotten one from Greenville that I like really well, and I think that's what we need. I'm going to get a copy to each member, let you look it over. It's simple. It has what we've been doing or discussing and trying to get it going here. And I think that will work for the vehicles and the litter and the trash and everything.
Okay. We just need to get that.
Get it rewritten somehow.
It needs to be rewritten, this new one that you're looking
Well,
at.
it will because it's from Greenville.
So it
It's
just
not
needs to be
just-
adapted to
Yeah.
building new parents.
But I want everybody to look at it first.
Certainly.
We don't have anything in place now.
We
We
have
do.
several places, just
I'm
come
sorry.
We don't have anything now that we can go by to enforce.
Yeah, we do. The old way, which never worked to start with. And I have both beat our head on the wall. We get to court and then sometimes they've been throwing them out.
For the same reason each time.
Well,
Because they're not going to get any money from.
and then we have to start the process over again, and there's no sense, no reason for it.
I mean, it's something that
Nothing's
we're going to
being
have to
done.
handle here.
But
We
the
can't
new one,
handle it
yeah.
in the courts.
Not yet.
I feel like what we need to do is the new ordinance we have on the grass and the litter is the best way to go. That way you don't have to fool around with going back and checking people's property. You send them a letter, give them so many days, and if they don't do it, we come in and do it for them and get it over with. And then you don't have to send them another letter and give them another 10 or 15 days, and then you don't have to go back and check it to see if it's done, to give them a final notice or whatever. That process is too long. I don't like it. It needs to be changed.
So the new grass and the weeds and litter ordinance works. It's better.
Well, we haven't, it should work, yeah.
Well, it's passed.
Yeah, it's passed, and we're getting ready to send those
Okay.
letters out too.
Okay.
We got them about ready to go, and we'll see from there. But in the new ordinance, you give them 5 days on the weeds and cleaning their mess up, and if they don't do it, the village can come in and do it.
And then it goes directly on the
whatever
tax
the
bill.
cost is to clean it up, they have to pay it. And I think it'll work.
Okay.
I think it will. I'm not saying it's going to, but I think it will.
Well, we just have to prosecute it and try. We have to do what we can do.
And if they don't pay, then they get their taxes assessed. And I've been doing that over the past years, but I just want the messes
I
cleaned
do
up.
too. I do too. And it's something we need to have in place before winter, because next spring, we would like to attach some of
We
those
should
messes.
have it in
Town cleanup
order
if we
by
have one.
March anyway. But it shouldn't take long if we use the same ordinance that they use at Greenville. Get it through the attorney and get it okayed and everything. It's
Okay.
legal. Then all we have to do is rewrite it and
It
throw
won't
it
take
in.
much to
Yeah.
plug us into it and take your
Right.
bill out. That's what all that needs to be done, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this old process we got, it's got to go. It's too
No,
much
it is. It's
paperwork.
too cumbersome, and then you get.
By
to
the
court
time
and
you get
it's
anything accomplished, summer's over and the mess is.
Well, I'd like to see it in place so that we could tie some of this cleanup to the town cleanup next year. Would save
Right.
everybody, including the people who we're going to bill.
And that includes business, any property owner, whether it's a business or not. And that's something else I wanted to bring.
Is it under sanitation?
It's, yes.
Then
it
go
is.
ahead.
We ran into up on the Central Street. There was a lot of auto parts and car seats and whatever at this garage. There was tires in the front yard. And we had a gentleman come to us and wanted to know what we were doing. And I told him we was there taking pictures, that we were from the sanitation department through the council. And he said, well, this is a business. I said, it really doesn't matter if it's a business or not, you still have to keep it clean. And besides that, why is a business in a residential area?
Well, I think that business has been grandfathered in. It was there before.
Oh, no, it wasn't. That's a new garage back there. It was not grandfathered in. There's never, it's like a
Central
chop
Street?
shop. Central. Up by the old water tower.
Yes. So there's
Yeah.
another place up there. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I've never seen it up. I mean, it's been there, but I didn't know that it was a business. I just thought the people were extra junky.
You're not talking about.
And you're not talking about
No.
No, not Van Zant.
It's not talking about that.
No, it's a residential. It's a,
Well, then, that's a violation of zoning.
yes, it is.
Well,
So
then-
someone needs to look into that. And I told him there wasn't any business allowed in a residential area unless it was zoned for business. And it isn't. It's up there where, you remember Mansfield,
Yeah.
it's behind there. And people just getting away with a lot. They're doing things before they ask. They don't even bother. They just go ahead and do it, is how I feel about it. That's my opinion. There's a lot of it going on. There's a lot of fences going up that they're out in front of their houses and they shouldn't be there. We're down here on Water Street's an example. That's been up quite a while now, but the ordinance states, the zoning ordinance states that you're not allowed to have a fence of any kind out in front of your house. It has to be the back part of your house. And there's a lot of them go on doing whatever they want to do. Somehow they need to be aware of the zoning rules and the sanitation rules. Because even if some people's, there was a time when they had to tear those down because they never even bothered to get a permit to put them up.
Well, I'm sure they haven't gotten these this time. Okay, well,
I just wanted to make everybody
if you
aware
do
of
me a
that.
favor, when you see these places, any of you, make a note of them so we can
Oh, we
investigate
have, I
those a
got
little bit.
pictures.
Okay, thank you. Have you got anything else for us, then, James?
No, that's
Ed, have you got
that's
something?
enough.
Okay. Planning board met today, but the property owner had an emergency and could not attend the meeting, so we just kind of looked at his things, but we're going to get together again with him again. So we have done nothing, actually. And the board, has the board got anything to report?
Nothing really. Everything's going pretty well on the board right now. We just recently got one of our main pumps back and got it back in service at a fairly reasonable price. Jimmy worked on a check valve today and we repaired it without costing any money. And of course, most of you know that the pipe is stretched out on Spring Street. Hopefully we'll get to start to work on it next week. And there should not be any interruption to water service or interruption to the street. Maybe a little traffic problem at times, but everything should be going really smoothly with that. So that'll complete our city loop and get us back on the system again. So
It'd be nice to have very much. Resolution and ordinance. I don't think we have anything to offer, but we will look
Now
at.
that, I want to get going on that new sanitation ordinance.
We want to get working on that, and we want to get working on the ordinance for collection of delinquent taxes.
Okay.
All right, those two items. And we'll get some stuff from Mr. Kovacs and get started on that.
I'll get everybody a copy of that sanitation ordinance.
I don't know if everyone has one of these. Did you have one of these in your box?
No.
This is park fund balances. I do have a question, Mandy. Did people from the Chamber of Commerce come up? I know somebody came about the parade.
Somebody can about parade paper.
Nobody else came about anything. Well, then I'll let them know tomorrow, because I've already talked to them once about it, that they need to do the car show, street closings, and they need to do the, to get their tax thing here.
David Westler came in the parade.
Everybody has one of these, right? Even the seal. You don't have one? Well,
I passed mine on.
I guess you did.
Thank you.
I'll leave one here. I'll leave one here. Anybody else see one? Let's, well, we'll get yours, Jack. Okay.
We can make more copies if everybody wants.
We can. I just know that there are some park committee people here that I wanted to give those to.
Yeah.
Other than getting the paperwork from the chamber for the Apple Fest, that was all I had about the park. Have you got anything, Ralph?
Chris?
Yes.
You got anything you want to say?
Yeah.
That's all I'm done.
Well, for starters, our last meeting, we had a representative from the Dayton Foundation.
Would you like to come up, please?
Yes, please.
Can I bring my partner with me?
Yes.
I guess thanks, right. You partner? We had a representative from the Dayton Foundation meet with us our last meeting in July. And we were looking at different avenues or different options for our, to get our tax exempt status. And the Dayton Foundation is a nonprofit. I'm sure everybody's heard about some of the work they do. They've been real big with the tornado over in the Dayton area, and now with the events of the other evening, they are also setting up funds for that. But what they also do is administer other nonprofit groups like what we are. The National Trail Foundation, they are actually through the Dayton Foundation. They're not their own standalone nonprofit. They are through the Dayton Foundation. Essentially what they do is they will manage everything for us. We will operate under their tax exempt status. So as far as getting donations and things from individuals and businesses, they will actually take care of all the paperwork as far as getting the receipts out. They will perform oversight of our board, make sure that we do everything in line with the way it's supposed to be, so everything's done legally. So it'll save us the expense of legal counsel for ourselves. It saves us the expense of going through to get the 501(c)(3) ourselves too. A lot of checks and balances in place with them that we really like. A couple of them, a couple of restrictions, like if we want to have any type of communication via social media or any type of advertising, it goes through them for them to say yay or nay. But in essence, I like that too, because it's the checks and balances of where we know we're not doing something we shouldn't be doing. We have another meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock down here, and we will be deciding as a committee at that time whether we want to go forward with the Dayton Foundation or we're going to back off and continue on down to establish our own nonprofit entity. Any questions along those lines? I do. Okay. It sounds to me like a third-party interest of people making decisions about this park council. It is not. That's not going to It is not. take over. It is Explain not. to that. Okay. All
all they are doing is helping us with the fundraising part of it and managing our funds, okay? They have nothing to do with what goes on in the park at all.
Decision making.
No, at the end of the day, the park, anything that happens in the park itself is still yours. We as a committee can recommend to you folks, we're trying to decide going forward what we think, and hopefully you guys will support what we're backing. But at the end of the day, that's your property. And until such time that if down the road it ever becomes a separate park board or whatever the case is, that's in the future. As it is right now, as far as anything being done on that property up there, it goes through you because it's your property, it's not ours.
There's things going on up there right now that we know nothing about. They're up there putting electric up and things done to the shelters up there.
That's
And
not us.
nobody came to this table to oversee anything.
That's fine, because nobody told me about it, or our committee about it, so I'm not sure who it is.
Then why did that go on?
I don't know why
It
you're-
has to be changed. It's not them, it's God.
Yeah,
If they don't know.
Somebody
well,
doing something.
I'm going to talk to them tomorrow. And
It's
because,
not that it's wrong, that, you know, what they're doing, it's just the process and procedure that they're going through.
That's not anything to do with our board, and nobody's, communication's kind
And
of
there's too many things going on with the park that the council isn't aware of,
Yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to protect.
right, and I agree, and there's things going on with the council regarding the park that came up our last meeting that we'd like to get in the loop on also. And not to be argumentative at any point in this conversation, but it came up, the discussion last month at your council meeting about some type of medical facility going on around the park.
What's going on?
Okay, that's, they came up at our meeting because the first we learned of it, because Al and I knew one was at the last meeting, but it came up reading the Register Herald. What's this? So we had some questions and we went to Luke, what can you tell us, what's going on? This is kind of, so I want to make sure that, if we're doing something, you guys know about it. If there's something that you guys, we're going to keep that communication going back and forth, or we're going to be
okay,
running into it.
I'm going to speak to this. There was an idea we had. It came from another source. We looked into it. That's as far as it's gone. We just wanted people to know, and it was made public right here in this meeting on July 1st. Now, we had looked at that. We can't just go say, okay, let's sell it. It has to be approved by everybody in here, or not. And as far as I know, we're not anywhere with it. But it was something we thought we would look at. And the main reason was, we were getting a little bit desperate to see what kind of money we could come up with without having to borrow $250,000. Now, it hasn't gone anywhere else. That's where we are. And if it ever were going to go anywhere, well, of course, you could come here and hear about it at our meeting, or someone, we have two people.
Right, and that's what we discussed with Luke, and he told us the best he understood what the situation was, but the first, it's just like everywhere else in the country, when we read about it in the paper, it doesn't always come across.
Well, that's like driving by and seeing electricians up there working on it.
I agree.
Nobody says
I think it was all new information, right? Just popped up in the meeting, like exploring this.
They didn't have any
Right,
idea.
yeah,
The council
it
didn't
just came
know.
up in-
And we just talked
Right,
about it.
exactly.
There were a lot of things we discussed when we met with
Didn't
the
trip
people
it.
from the state.
Right.
It wasn't like we were out peddling parking land and selling shit.
Exactly, right, just came up.
So, and yes, it did. And so we wanted people to know that that's something we thought about, we looked at, we had thought about looking into, but it hasn't gone anywhere else. And so
It just
before it did,
we still have control, but we're going to keep.
well, we can't.
I know, we can't go, but I'm just saying, look over here to us.
No, it was intended because the council, once they're informed, should be going to the meetings and telling them.
I know what they're doing. They're putting power into that shelter, but things like that, we're supposed to come here before we do it.
I have a big ugly note right here about
Yeah,
that. But you don't know who does.
With that, again, we like to know about that also, because as we move forward, trying to visualize and place out how the project's going to go, so we can come back to you folks and say, all right, next time, this is what we'd like to go from here, and how to put things together. Because like right now, with the basketball court that we've been, was our first priority, trying to get ball rolling, to give them something to look at, something tangible, see hey, it's coming, it's coming. We've got the shoulders, we got the initial part of the track down, here's the basketball court, it generates excitement. But to do that, then we have to go back, like we talked in the previous meeting about moving electric lines that are already on the court, that were kind of put out there. I don't want to say willy-nilly, but,
I understand.
you know, so anything else that they do, then we're going to have to go back.
But we
down the
were
road.
completely unaware of anything being done.
Yeah.
And that's
It didn't
not
worry, that-
what we need.
I know, yep.
Yeah.
So I will talk to them tomorrow, yet again, because we've spoken to them about this before. And I don't,
And you're
I'm
talking
sure
about
they're getting their help when they can. Just a minute. I'm sure they're getting their help in when they can because it's people from the vocational school, whatever it's called now, students in the electronics that come over, and the electrician students come over and work on that. So I feel positive that they just did it when they could. But the point of the whole
They
thing
need to
is,
let somebody
we
know.
have to know what and where
Yeah.
because of things like this.
Yeah.
Because there's already an electric panel right in the middle of the ball, or the
Well, we're right back to where
basketball court,
everybody does.
and then we're gonna have to move now. Yes, so I don't
And
know.
that's, you know, in our meetings, I try to kind of corral everybody because there's ideas coming from everywhere. So-and-so wants to put flowers here, so-and-so wants to, you know, hey, guys, we need the master plan so everything fits where it's going to go. We can always adopt or adjust things as we go, but we have to have a plan, kind of stick to it. And then if things like that are happening, it's a pain in your neck, it's a pain in our neck, because then down the road, we're going to address that.
It's got to be changed, and
Right.
we don't need to do things twice.
Right.
So I will have a talk with them tomorrow. I'm not sure, but they don't have a meeting tomorrow, I may go.
To Ralph's point about the Dayton Foundation, as far as anything, you know, there's never any question that the property up there and anything that goes on the property, Dalton City comes to council because you go to the property. There's never a question. Basically, all this does is gives us an avenue to operate as a nonprofit, to be able to solicit donations from the outside, to give them the documentation they need for tax purposes and other things. But then they also will give us oversight to make sure that we are operating within the law. So we're not doing something that we think, hey, why can't we do this? Well, you can't do it because. And it gives us some oversight. So there are small fees involved with it. And that, I mean, in my opinion, very minute over time. I believe the one that we were seriously considering on an annual basis, it's based off of how much is in the actual our fund, or how much they're holding for us. Up to $15,000 is $350 a year that they charge us basically for administrative fees for doing what they do. Because nothing,
Did those fees come out of your project money you got through donations?
yes, it
Taxpayers' money?
it's not for you guys, it's through our money. Unless you folks transfer money into that account, it's basically whatever we're holding in our account. Whatever you have in your budget or your line item for a park, that's yours until such point that you transfer it over, or whatever we decide to do, or we transfer our money back to you. Those funds never get coded. But you know, up to $50,000 after that is $600 a year. 50,000 to $1 million is 1.1% of the balance. So with what they offer, then they will also give us, help us with advertising, creating flyers and that type of thing, a lot of the design work. Things that are going to save us money on our end, having somebody else do too. So there's, like I said, there's not too many negatives that I could see, other than, you know, you can't always just approve right at the meeting and go do it. Basically, we'll get approval for the information that they need onto them. They'll look things over, make sure, hey, and it's not like a week or two turnaround, typically it's a day or so. They'll say yay or nay. You know, if it's nay, why is it nay? Why do we need to do different?
And that's not the only option.
Yeah.
This is the committee advised option. There's also this entry level, so basically a checking account.
Right.
So the way that would be managed is that we wouldn't be able to spend any of our funds, wouldn't be able to pull funds from that account to fund the car show, for example. We have to get the funds from the outside to pay for all the setup. And then after that is done, the foundation will write a check to whoever funded the project. And whoever funded the project has to be a nonprofit as well.
Yeah.
There's some challenges
Yes.
For example, the American Legion could sponsor the car show. They would cough up $600 for all the setup and whatever. And then at the end, we would break, have the event, we gain some money. Then the foundation would write a check to the Legion for the amounts that the Legion offered today. That's a real world, exactly what it would look like if the Legion funded. The Legion gives us the money because they can. We spend it because we can. We accept the money because that's what we're made to do, a foundation.
But instead of taking all your profit, paying the Legion back directly, you don't do that. It all goes into an account.
Yes.
Where that's
It's all tracked. We don't track
tracked.
anything. They track it all. We don't have the resources to track that for them. So they have all the resources, and it's all in writing. It's all legitimate. And you guys, it's nothing to do with the village. There's absolutely nothing you have to do, except donate money to it if you like.
The only thing different than what we discussed previously, as far as going out and getting our own 501(c), is basically we'll be operating under another group, and that's what they do.
And it saves you money.
Yes.
I know that.
And that's what they do. They're experts at it. It saves us a lot of headache. And it gets us to the point, it gets us to the place where we need to be to go out and solicit the donations and get this ball rolling a little faster. Any questions on that end? I know it's just kind of a thumbnail sketch of it.
Can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
I'm Shelley Rutherford, I'm also on the park committee.
Come on out, Chelsea.
I just want to reiterate some stuff he's talking about. We will be voting tomorrow on this, whether we're going to go with the Dayton Foundation or not. But what I want to add to this is that we, as a committee, do not have the legal knowledge that we need to try to go for this 501(c) ourselves. It would take a lot of work on our part to be able to do that, and it would probably take us longer than a year for us to try to do this on our own. So we're leaning toward the Dayton Foundation because of the things that they can offer us with this account. The only thing they're asking for approval on, like he said, is if we wanted to post anything. That's because once you're under the umbrella of the Dayton Foundation, you have to have a blurb, a little verbiage on all of your paperwork, so that anywhere that our paperwork goes out to knows we're under a 501(c) of a very reputable company. So that's the only thing that they have to approve. Our fundraisers from here on out, after our poker run with the Legion, will have to go through them for approval to make sure that it's the kind of fundraiser they approve. And they will also be able to give us information on grants and things that we can apply for.
As a park committee.
Yes.
Under the umbrella of the foundation.
Yep. So that's all I'm going to do.
Do you have to turn your current funds into the foundation for them to work from?
There were different amounts, so we could decide how much we wanted to start with them. So if we wanted to keep some in the village funds like we have now, we can do that, so that we could start at the lower amount on the,
And not
you know,
have
the
to
yearly
pay.
fee.
There's nothing to keep us from going to LCNB or Farmer State or whoever, opening up our own checking account separate from that also. Basically, the operating like one's got to pay the cash. Again, we're going to discuss again tomorrow night. Also, Brad Hampton, who's on our board now, was president of the National Trail Foundation and has worked with these folks. He kind of facilitated them coming in and speaking to us. So we kind of put a lot of pressure on him. We're trusting his take on how they work. He hadn't had a bad thing to say about it yet. He's become very, very highly recommended. And like I said, there's several hundred other groups like ours, not necessarily park boards, park committees, but several other small groups like ours that they're doing this for already. So it's not a fly-by-night outfit. It's very well respected.
City of Dayton had them set up a fund for the Oregon District, and they just did it overnight.
If you watch Fox or CNN, you're hearing Dayton Foundation mentioned that in the last couple of days too. So
This is a partnership that's been working on quite a bit. It's going to happen.
To the basketball court that we talked about before, kind of our first, it's what we was calling a maintenance project. It's already in place. We're just improving it. Alan and I have been working with Kurt again, make sure our numbers were right for the paving. We want to address some of the low spots. Anybody's been up before, sometimes you'll see puddles in certain areas. So kind of goes back to what we've been preaching from the beginning when it's right the first time. Make sure we're not doing something, leaving something out. If we're going to do it right. So we kind of take a step back just a second, look, make sure we're all on the same page, make sure when we get the paver laid, there's not going to be low spots. We're not going to have to worry about water pooling here and there. Got a couple ideas on how to correct that, how he'll build a slope into the court without affecting it too bad as far as the kids being able to play on there either. Like I told Kurt, you don't want one side of a half-court basketball court being a foot lower than the other side. So we're trying to come up with the best idea to get the water to drain off the sides, and then possibly run a tile from the end of the court, probably the east and west side of the court, down to the creek to get rid of that water so it's not pooling out in the grass around there either.
And that's what we're going to need the council to take a look at. What they're going to take to dig a trench from the courts straight into a big bed with a backflow preventer on it, so if it does flood, that it won't come up into the courts. We've already talked about that in the project. But, it's fairly cheap cost to the town, just digging the trench and putting a couple of, we're talking about a channel.
Right.
Channel drain along the edge of the east and the west side where there's now grass, not where the driveway comes in. Like basically the back side, the front side.
Right.
We'd have like a 4-inch drop on both sides that would drain into channel. They're plastic, they're pre-formed, they're buried in the ground. You've probably seen them in
It's like an existing storm sewer through that area there now.
Okay. Well, this would,
Which way?
Well,
It runs parallel to Spring Street.
If that's what you're talking about.
Down to the creek right there off the sidewalk. I believe
There's
it's
a
easy.
table right there in the creek.
Yeah, right there.
Across the street.
Right there at the Iron Bridge,
You
dumps into
wouldn't
the
have
creek
to go all
there.
the way to the creek.
Might not have to, then,
so we had to come up with some way to make it fall into that, that drain. That would solve, I don't want to say all of the water.
No, but it would help.
It's a heck of a remedy for what's up there. And it's going to look great. And the it would only be a 4-inch fall in 50 feet. So the drainage, because that's the recommended drop, 1 inch every 10 feet. That seems high. It might seem high, yeah. But there would be a little additional asphalt on that original 10-6 to create that berm down the middle. So we don't have that cost yet.
Okay. But you are still working on all that
Yes.
project? Okay.
and Alan and I talked the other day, we're trying to get this going as quickly as we could so we can show the public something tangible. And we talked about it, well, we're running into the Apple Fest now. And right now, that is going forward, I hope the Apple Fest is just one of many things going on there throughout the year. I would love to see some type of event or festival. I would love to see music up there through the summer on Saturday nights. I'd like to see maybe some type of festival event every season, get people in there. But right now, with the Apple Fest coming up, if we try to get that paid before and get everything set, it's going to be a nightmare, and I don't want that on the Apple Fest committee and on the chamber. That's yeah. So right now, we're looking at trying to get a window following the Apple Festival before it starts getting too cold for the late asphalt. Kirk said if he does it, he could do up till December, but obviously the later you wait, the colder it gets, the seams just don't look good. So the warmer you can do it, the better stone leg. So that's going to have a effect on how soon we get on the leg. And if it comes down to where it's just, the weather's not going to cooperate with us, it might be spring. But that's not always a bad thing either. Again, we're just trying to focus on getting everything done.
And we want to line this up with the drainage solution at the same time. So we need to really take a look at what it's going to take, what excavation it's going to take to put in the drainage on the edge.
And it conceptually think now about a way to lighten up that area up there with something other than 4x4 posts and things stuck
How
on.
much is a light pole? How much is a light pole with lights on it? We don't.
Still,
We have
the last-
mile, or is that?
The last difference, and I'm thinking more instead of like, not just street lights, but like LED lighting. To try to keep everything, keep the electric usage down as minimal as possible. I can't see anything from any place other than China at this point. So that's still a work in progress of finding some way to get everything lit up there, but get something uniform that's going to help everybody throughout the year.
And that's fine, but you've got to remember that right now the rules for the park say that they close at dark.
Well, are you closing the park at dark after festival?
No,
They still need lights.
well, then no have
They
to.
put the temporary.
And we could maybe eventually make exceptions for the closing hours for
Well,
other events. like a
we've
nighttime
already
event.
done that tonight.
Right.
And I don't
Don't need
see a
lights.
problem with that, as long as it's responsible and something that makes sense. I don't see any problem with that either. But I'm just saying,
So if you guys
this
don't
stuff
have,
has to come here first,
yeah.
you know.
Well,
If you guys don't have to pay for the pole with the light, you just pay the electricity.
Well, and that's fine.
And
I
that's-
don't think we
I
should do that.
think-
However,
What we're missing here is,
However-
I'm not coming and saying, this is what we're going to do. I'm coming and I'm trying to let you know the ideas and things we're
And I
talking
think
about.
that's good.
When it comes time to, hey, we'd really like to do this, and we talk about curfew, then we can sit down and have that discussion, in my opinion. And throw it in if we're told no, and that's what we have to deal with.
Sounds good to me.
But I think it's, for us, looking at this park, and we are, I don't say we have television, but our focus is on one thing, it's the park. And it's a way to get the park used by the most people possible in New Paris and in the community, the
I
greater
think
community.
that we can all agree that that's a good idea.
So,
That's what we all
as we go
want to see.
forward, it's not going to be, this is the way we've always done it, this is the way we're going to do it. We need to be open with each other, bounce ideas off each other, give and take, and do what's best for everybody.
You have no objection.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to think we're coming to tell you this is what we're going to do next. We know the rules of the game.
There is one other thing, here's what we're doing after we put the paper down.
Good night, Susan.
Thanks, Susan. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. See you.
So we've got a couple of new goalposts that we're looking at that are about, looking between $4,000 and $5,000. So we're looking at only buying 2 of those for just the south court. Yeah. The ones nearest the creek.
Right. Unless something happens and we get funding,
Yeah.
we're comfortable to do it all.
Hey,
at
the
the
thing
same
about
time.
4 grand, we'll take 2 more.
We don't know if we ask.
And those will most likely go in between next spring. That's, and they may go in right away. We don't know. They may go quick. Let's talk about the poker run real quick.
Yeah.
because-
Why don't you, Michelle, want to go over, you guys been dealing with Poke Run, do you want to share where we're at with that?
We can have
Okay.
We'll make it quick. So the poker run's going to be September 14th. We just created a flyer for it, so we're going to be posting that mostly on the social media. We are having, we've got 500 flyers printed, so they'll be around all the businesses in New Paris. It's $10 per rider, $5 per passenger. And we're also taking vehicles. So the more the merrier. So we load up a car. $20 gets you 4 people in a car. We've already got several baskets. We're going to have a silent auction, or excuse me, an auction. At the end, there's going to be food included in the price.
I know, I got a hallway full of stuff, okay?
All right. What do you do?
It's going to buy it.
But I think it might coincide.
Yeah. Sure, we keep stacking it up.
It might coincide with the triathlon.
Okay.
I know Troy was talking about, there's going to be lots of people running
Yeah.
around. And the riders want to go from the Legion up to the park and kind of like, so everyone can see what they're supporting. So there is going to be in this, I don't know if there's going to be a problem with the triathlon at what time, but they're rolling out at noon from the Legion.
They'll be going early from
I think
the
we are,
triathlon,
yes.
so we may not, I don't know if they'll be done by noon, but I think maybe
Okay.
we can work it out. Yes, we have.
Is there anything, with them going to the school, is there anything that you guys need to approve for that? I mean, there's nothing, I don't think we're going to be organized up there.
No,
Right.
it's fully funds.
So it's just kind of a pit stop for them.
All we need you to do is fill out a paper that says you want to use the shelter on the 14th, because that's where we'll be, right? And from time to what time, so we have that, all right?
I think I want to do a birthday party schedule that day.
Well, we won't.
I like Dave.
They are just actually talking about driving
I
that.
don't think we're gonna pull in. I think we just wanna.
Yeah, they're not going to come,
Okay.
they're not going to come into the park.
No.
We
Well,
just
okay.
want to maybe have some community out there with a big sign that says, "Thank you, Legion Riders."
Oh, yeah?
360
Okay.
Or something. I
They
mean,
just want to come up close to the street there,
they'll drive up.
and then they're going to take off.
Okay.
And see the-
Well, sure, that makes sense. I was thinking that they wanted to have something in that shelter when we first talked at their meeting.
That got canceled.
Good job. Okay.
Again, our next meeting's tomorrow evening at 6. Y'all, if you want to stop in, you're welcome to. We welcome the input from everybody. Like I said, we're all in this together, so the more help we get from you guys, we'll make this happen. It's moving right along.
Where is it here?
It's here. Any other questions of us?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Anybody
Thank you
have
very much.
questions? Thank you, guys. Thank you, too. All right. Unfinished business. Apparently, the American Legion gave a donation of $500, just a general donation to the village. And we need to decide where to put that, because it's not designated for the park, it's not designated for the police. It's just $500, and thank you. And thank you very much to the American Legion. That's wonderful. You could split it, you can do whatever you want to with it, but we need to think about it here a minute, and Mandy needs to put it somewhere and have it hanging out there.
I thought we already had a fund
For what?
for the,
Well, it's not designated.
It's not designated.
The money they gave us for the park before, they designated it. Well,
I'm saying put it in the park.
do you want to make a motion that we put it
Yes,
in?
I will. I make a motion, you take this $500 and put it in the park fund.
Mary Jane,
Yes.
Luther, Peg,
Yes.
Ralph.
Thank you. We did
See how easy that was? And didn't that feel good?
Wait, we forgot to ask the Tinker.
Sorry.
No, we can't. I'm sorry, one visit per customer. Jimmy had his 90-day review, Mr. Ragsdale, and we talked about it, we approved the salary the last month, but we did it a little late, and it needed to be retroactive to his higher date for this position, and we did not, we failed to do that. It's generally the thing that we do. It's our normal operating thing. We do generally make them retroactive to higher dates or whatever. So is there a motion to approve the retroactive difference?
And what is it on?
It's on Mr. Ragsdale's raise. It should have been made retroactive to what was the date?
For his,
He had a raise.
He got a raise in
this
his
is for the
position.
street position?
It's
or-
for the service
Service
director
director.
position.
Which was like June, his review should have been like June 4th, and you guys did it July, you approved it in July.
No, we didn't, we approved it in June because we met in July, and the July 1st is when it was approved right now.
Right, so it would have gone.
So it goes back out to
I'll make that motion.
make a motion to pick up the retroactive pay. Is there a second for that? Do you understand what we're doing? I'm
Yeah.
very confused, and I don't doubt it. Okay, it's moved and
Mary
seconded.
Jane,
Yeah.
Luther,
Yes.
Peg,
Yes.
Ralph.
Thank you. Now, I asked two local people who had talked to me about the handy signs, about restoring them. I asked them to get me some estimates on what they would charge us to restore both signs. and get them so we can put them back up. We'd like to have them for Alpha like to have them reinstalled. One of the people didn't, I told them I wanted them for this meeting, and we got one. We got one from Mort Mash. Mort says he will sandblast both signs, prime and paint them black, sand the lettering off so that it is the aluminum coloring, and put a clear coat on it for a grand total of $0.
That's too much.
He's not going to charge us. I need a motion to allow Mr. Mash to do this work.
I make a motion.
Did you get any more
I have a question.
I beg pardon?
Did you get any more bids?
No, I asked for them, I didn't get any more.
Okay, okay.
His was the only one that came in. I asked for them by tonight.
Alan has a
Is it
question.
black is the only option for the sign?
That's what they were in the first place. That
I
one
thought
is,
it was blue.
it's the one that's out there now is blue, it's stated, but they were black.
So that one, this one out here will be black.
They'll both be black with the aluminum shiny letters. Okay?
Aluminum highlights on the letters.
Kathy, how many signs were there originally?
I don't know, but we have got two.
I think there were two.
I think that two is correct. That begins in two. I beg
One
your
was
pardon.
just turned into the village. Where was the other one?
The other one was stored in here somewhere, and we just found it by accident.
You don't know how long it's been there?
Nobody knew, I didn't know it was there, nobody currently here realized that that's where it was. It was stored up in the attic or in the attic of the building somewhere.
They recently recognized him in Rushville for the Underground Railroad, writing a song.
We're gonna get them up by Apple Fest.
And where are they?
And I kind of dropped the ball on this because I meant to talk about it in June and we were busy with streets. So just-
Where are they going to be erected?
That's up to council, but I would assume we'll put one back out here where it was if the
Coming in through 12.
coming in on 320. I don't know if there's a place to put the other one on 121 on the other end, or if we can put it right out here.
Did ODOT put those out?
The state did.
State.
Oh, yeah. Do we have to have permission to replace them?
Why?
I wouldn't
I
think
don't
so.
know.
I mean, we can always ask, and we will. We'll ask them. But I would say if they're going back to,
I wouldn't see
If
an
they're not.
objection to it, but I didn't know what we should,
I can find out.
or just replace them, they were already there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the other one's probably on the other end of town, but I can't remember either.
At the ballpark,
Yeah,
or over here, I don't know either.
we can put it either place, I'd say. It's,
Needs to be on the
both are
state-
state
needs to be on
routes.
the state route.
Both are
Yeah.
state
Yes, be on the
routes.
state route, right.
I would think so, seeing how they
Put
originally.
them,
Well,
put them back where there's the one that was down by the cemetery and one at the Beaumont. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
We'll have to get the permission from the ballpark.
They got state right away, you know, they even get permission from it.
Well-
You got state right away.
We'll be going on their property to install it, so we'll talk to them about it, but that's what we're doing.
You know, and otherwise, it doesn't not have to be on the state highway, is that what you're saying?
No, I think it does. I would think you would want them, the state erected them, and I think they would want them on the state routes. It makes sense to do that.
Well, where do they come from originally?
From the Historical Society, the State of Ohio Historical Society provided those.
Do we know what part of town that he lived in?
He lived down there where Eubanks Insurance used to be, I believe was the house.
Thank you.
That was the one out there in Arbor Sky.
Was there a motion for that?
There was a motion to accept the quote.
Second.
Did we vote on the quote?
Yes, you moved, you second.
Uh-huh.
Mary Jane?
We're voting on accepting this quotation.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm not saying.
Peggy?
All right, I will talk to Mort and tell him, thank you very much, and we're ready for him to get them. We'll take them where he wants us to. They're very, very heavy and awkward. We got a pickup truck. because in September we'll have to decide, all right?
You haven't done by then.
Well, we can go ahead and decide even if he's close, but I think that we want him up. He knows, I've told him, we'd like to have him up by Apple-Fest into September, so we'll, I think he didn't seem to think that would be a problem, okay? All right. We talked about, we'll be doing reviews this week for Jeremy and Mandy on Thursday. Ralph is going to help with one, and then, well, he'll help me with both of them actually, and we will have Chris Brower from the board, we'll all get together and do Mandy's.
If Chris can't make it.
No,
go ahead and do
I
it.
talked to
Oh,
him.
we did.
I did, because I said, if you can't, Chris, tell me and I'll see if Ed can come, but he said he could be there, so you're welcome to come anyway, Ed. Will be 3 o'clock, okay, for Mandy's review. All right. That's the old business. Is there any new business? I don't think that I have any communications. There are, I do have this, but it's just an estimate, and I'm going to let you guys have a copy of it. These are Farmer State's estimated cost of a loan, but it's not anything written in stone. Fed dropped their rates, so we might want to get it written in stone. But we don't know exactly what we need until we get the numbers for the new estimates. So these are their figures that they have, or the figures that were discussed. They're not,
They're not official
no,
price
it's
at all.
nothing official,
We
but
just
it's
wanted
close.
to give an idea.
It gives us an idea of what we're looking at. And I think that, yeah, I'm hoping we'll be able to do that. We have to borrow what we're going to have to borrow some, but maybe not as much as we thought. All right. Is there any other business? Not. The next meeting will be,
Mayor, I would like to address the council, please.
you're not on the
I know I'm
agenda.
not. I know I'm not. Yes, I didn't get on the agenda for purely selfish reasons, but,
You didn't get on for selfish reasons,
yes. Yes, I didn't misspoke.
but you come on up then. I don't.
Actually, I have several questions.
If there's
Or
no
I do have
objection.
a question about why the project for 320 got suspended. Does anybody know?
Yes.
Okay, well, Susan,
Susan just said.
I didn't hear her.
Oh, it was because of the material that Walls had provided to the state with the blacktop wasn't up to their specifications.
The state's specification?
Yes,
To the
they were.
state's
Are the specifications for Cherry Street and Main Street and the end
That's
of
different
Walnut
stuff.
Street the same specifications?
I have no idea because.
So the asphalt that's put down on Cherry Street, Main Street, and Walnut could be also defective?
No, well, it's not even the state's plan.
It was up to our specifications.
What are your specifications?
Mr. Ragsdale will have to,
And did he analyze the asphalt?
did he analyze the asphalt?
Well, I suppose that's
I don't
what
know.
okay. All right. What I would like to address is the center line of South Washington Street. And I would like, I have some sketches here that I'll pass out to members. And I would like to see the existing center line changed
If you're going to
to
go.
what it was prior
It should have
to
been on the agenda.
Yes.
2001. I said, Ralph, I had a reason.
I know.
What was
Maybe you
that?
pass those around. I'll tell you what my reason was. I thought that since a quorum is required for a meeting, I was afraid a quorum would not show up. And you want to know the truth? I don't trust you. And that's the truth. And laugh if you want.
You know.
And you can laugh all you want. I don't care.
Please.
So I would like to see someone on council make a motion. No, that's my thought.
Oh, Here you go. Have that.
And I'd like to see someone on the council make a motion to put the center line, as I have drawn in this proposed change to what it was prior to the 2005 or 2006 change that the village requested, and it was done. I've spoken to a man named John Otis at the Department of Transportation. He said he's the project engineer on this repaving job. He said that the village has the right to put that line in where they want. All he needs is an email instructing him where to put it. And he can email tomorrow. And I would like to see someone on the council make a motion.
Does everyone on the council have the information that Susan sent to us about making those changes?
Why don't you share that with Ted? I don't know that he's aware of it.
I'll try to read what I can read here. We have looked at the situation regarding.
I don't need you to read it. I can read it myself.
I
Well,
know you
it's
had to
for
comment.
the
Okay, I got it now.
audience, please. Go ahead and read it. Please read it so that everybody
Okay,
out
go
there
ahead.
will have it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have looked at the situation regarding the parking and striping of South Washington. The following are some issues that could result in changing the parking and driving lanes. Number one, the current parking aligns with the bridge near Subway, in which the east side widens at the south end to accommodate parking. The west side curve remains straight. To change the parking to the west side, the striping would need to jog at the south end coming from north from the bridge. So the jog would not be eliminated, just move to the south end. 3, the east side of the street changes width across from the jamboree, which could also create the need for a second jog. I believe that the right-of-way width of Washington Street changes at this point. Number 4, if the parking area was changed to the west side, the shift of the driving lanes would result in the cold joint of the pavement being in the driving lane on the west side, which could cause premature unraveling of the asphalt. Number 5, special parking spaces would be lost in
Several parking places.
Several parking spaces would be lost in moving the striping. Having enough parking for the jamboree was one of the reasons the village originally opted for the east side, since it provided for the most parking. Number 6, all of the homes on the east side do not have driveways, so some residents would have to park and then walk across the street to unload groceries, carry children, and so on. Number 7, all of the homes on the west side have driveways to accommodate access to their homes. This would seem to indicate that the street parking has always been on the east side. I would suggest that before any change is made to the residents that would be affected or consulted, this would specifically be those on the east side that do not have driveways and could no longer park in front of their homes. I've been down there several times. I've talked to you a few times. And I have measured that and looked at that, and there are 3 areas that the curbing and the street flow into the lane of traffic on the east side of Washington Street lane. If you change that from its current situation that it is now, you're going to have multiple lane widths through that area. You're going to create more problems than what you already have, and I don't see that as a problem because we haven't had any accidents on the wood in that area.
Okay, well,
To my knowledge, there is not an issue there except for Ted Melody. And if there's more than one person besides Ted that there is an issue with, they need to come forward into council. Specifically, put your name on the agenda to come with this information and to try to get this worked out. I know what you, and I'm going to explain to you why you should.
Ralph, I know the rules.
I know you
Okay.
do. And you also
And I
told me-
also
All right, all right.
I also know that I don't.
You want to adjourn the meeting?
No, I don't want to join the meeting.
No, we're not going to adjourn anything. we're gonna calm down and be civil.
Okay, now, I'll address Susan's note.
And she is our engineer.
I know what she is, Ralph. I know what she is. She's a well-respected person. I know her, probably, no longer than you. Anyway, every house on the east side of Washington Street has off-street parking. Name me one that doesn't. You can't.
On the east side?
Yes. You can't name one because there isn't one.
I don't know.
All of them did. Well, you just told me they didn't.
I-
You said you
I
wrote
told
down
what-
twice.
I told you what was in, I read this off to you.
You just said you'd been down there twice. And look,
I measured, I didn't look at who had all.
I measured
and
also.
who didn't. I just
I
know
will
there are
certainly-
3 points that work their way into the north, to the eastbound, the east side of the street, on the north traffic.
well, I was on council when this was done. I know why it was moved. It was not moved to give the Jamboree more parking. It was not
It
discussed.
seems to be working okay now, Ted, the way it is now.
I don't care if it works or not, Ralph.
Well, I do care, I'm a
Well, it won't work if
And I'm
you look
looking
back
for
to
the
where it was.
safety
Okay,
and
did I have
concern
the
of the
floor?
village's new.
Did I have the floor? Did I have the floor or not?
I will, you will both quit right now. You can't expect to banter back and forth and then demand the floor.
Well, if he's got the floor and I can't speak, then how can he speak when I have the floor?
Oh, for the love of God.
For Christ's sake,
You
you
have
have
the
that
floor.
right.
Talk, or wait.
I said I have the floor.
I just said so.
Is Ralph going to be a winner?
Don't ask him a question.
Every house on the west side has off-street parking, and every house on the east side has off-street parking. There are no businesses on the east side of the street that would want parking. There was the post office, the Jamboree, and even the Subway shop down the street if they wanted. It was a ridiculous thing to move it in the first place. And if Jimmy Ragsdale would put the lines where he's supposed to put them, there would be even fewer parking spaces there now than he has lined up, that were lined up, of course, cut away. You didn't measure those because they're not there anymore. And I would like, still, I'll say it again. And I know this for a fact, Jim Otis, whatever his name, John Otis, told me all he needs is an email. So, I'd just like to hear a motion to put it back where it was.
I make a motion, we leave it like it is.
Okay, that's good, Ralph.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to leave the South Washington Street from Cherry to the village corporate line as it has been.
This is the first time it's come up to the meeting. Don't you think that we ought to,
Peggy, I want to tell you what I thought when this all came up. And you all can, we're going to vote in a minute. You're going to either second it or you're not. Whatever you do, you do. We have known about this repaving for a year, a little more than a year.
that's right.
And it was never an issue. Nobody brought it up until the very last minute when it could do, when everybody could get the bum's rush and hurry up without having any time to think about it. I'd like to have more time to think about it. However, I don't think they're going to wait for us to have another meeting or call all the residents down there. I don't know what is right and what isn't. I just know that I've heard from one person on this situation, and then I've asked questions of others, including our engineer, who says it's fine, and it was done to a purpose. Now, you can believe that, you cannot believe it, it's up to you. We pay this woman to take care of our interests, so whatever. But if you want to second this motion, somebody needs to do it. Motion's died for lack of second.
Does anyone make a motion?
I make a motion that we change lane, the the lines like they used to be.
And you understand that that center line is going to be in a travel area now, the seam of the road. Because they've already got the one thing and they're not going to take it out, they're going to take out the other.
They haven't put on the top coat yet.
That's my motion.
Is there a second to this motion?
I don't think we know enough about this. This is the first time we've talked about it here.
I agree with you, but I don't know how much time we do have to learn anything about it, and we've had a year.
Damn one way or another, kid. Lines are lines, and I want to drive on either side of the lines. I mean, and I told you that when you and I talked. If you put them back, fine. If you leave them, fine. It don't matter to me. And I'm not driving right now anyway. I'm not supposed to be. I am driving down here, but you know, I just, hell, I don't see anything wrong with the way the lines are, but I don't remember where the lines were, but to me, if they were back the way they were, fine. I'm going to drive on the side that I'm supposed to drive on.
That's the best thing.
Okay, so I can't sit here and say, make a decision on that right now. I just, you know, I mean, who cares where the hell the lines are? That's my opinion.
Okay, now, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion? The motion has done, well, Mary Jane made a motion to change it to a different,
The way it used to be,
the way it was before.
straight lines, no curves.
Does that affect the parking?
It will.
Huh?
It only moves the parking from one side of the street to the other side, which is the way it was prior to 2006.
But there's going to be, from what your engineer says, what Susan has written here, there will still be.
There will not be a stone in the road. If you look at the sketch I drew up, where I have on the sketch the subway, and then the post office, the width of the road right there will be the same all the way to the north side of town. The width of this driving lane will be the same, 11 foot on each side, just like it is in front of our house, Luther. It'll just go that same width all the way down to the outside of town, the south city line.
Okay. I'm waiting on a second, if there is one. Motion died for lack of a second. I'm sorry we've made no decision, so it stands the way it is unless we want to have a special meeting or whatever, and it's up to you guys. I told you that when I told you I wasn't calling one. To me, it's not an emergency. We've known it for a year that they were going to come in and repave. And when they repave, they have to put the lines in again. We even talked about that in a meeting. So there's not, you know, we can do, you all can vote for whatever you want. We talked about paying somebody to come in and put the lines on, the center lines and the parking places.
So when
we knew they were
when the
going to put
parking
lines
lines are put in, Mayor, when the parking spaces are put in, and they're not up to the specifications to the state laws, who's that responsibility going to fall on? Will that fall on you, or will that fall on Mr. Ragsdale, or will that
It'll
fall on
fall on
council?
the company that we hired to put the
Who puts
parking
those in?
spaces in.
Who puts those lines on the
The
street?
same company that's going to put
Oh,
the center
no.
lines
Oh,
in.
no.
Yeah, they
Oh,
will.
no, our village employees put the parking lines in.
No, they're not.
They always have.
Not there, no.
Oh, yes, they did.
Well, I don't care if they did, they're
Okay,
not
well, I
doing
do.
it this time.
If they're not putting it in the right spacing, then I'll have to, shit, I guess I'll see.
Well, you know what, go
I think
ahead.
I will.
You know, we've got a company hired to do all the parking spaces along the way.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we do. We voted to do that 2 months ago? Okay. All
Oh, so
right.
you haven't done it yet? Not yet.
Well, you
Thank you.
can't do it until it's paid.
I just said you haven't done it yet. I
We
didn't
haven't
say
made
that,
the contract.
There was a reason why you didn't. I just said you haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Kathy,
Yes.
I know I'm not on the agenda, but I do have a quick question.
Yes.
And I didn't know that this was protocol. I'm worried about the trees alongside the creek bed there, on where the stone quarry is and where the trailer park is.
Okay?
They're in the creek bed. I didn't know whose
It's
responsibility.
private property right there, all of that. So we would have to go to the owners of the property and take a look at them and see if they need to come out of there.
But it's on the creek, so I didn't know.
But it's the same.
Okay.
Their property line goes to,
Because I've got one dead tree, and I'm just afraid it's an ash tree, and it's huge.
so it's are you in the trailer park?
Yes.
You need to call the people that, I know it won't do it good, but try it. Do it anyway, and then we'll get involved.
It won't help, I can tell you that right now.
We'll try to get
Because we're
involved.
driving around potholes now, so.
I know it's not fun, is it?
Thought about putting pasta out there in the middle so that people know where they are.
All right.
Do we have to sign any more?
Okay.
Okay.
Next meeting, as we started to say, will be September 9th at 7 here. Will be not on the 2nd because that is Labor Day. If you want a special meeting, you need to get a hold of Mandy and we'll try to set something up. And is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion made.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor?